Good afternoon, fellow shareholders in the Clarence Golf and Leisure Estate. Today, I want to address the main issue, the thing that to me is the biggest priority, and to me is the most important motivator for putting myself up for the election on the coming AGM to serve on the board. And that has to do with creating the Clarence Golf Estate in such a way that it is an investor-friendly space. We have an incredibly beautiful estate, but we have 134 undeveloped stands. And for us to really show growth, to make a significant contribution to the local economy here, I think that leadership should very strongly be looking at ways of making it attractive for investors, individuals, groups, to start investing in our estates. But we've got some work to do on our side. That is that is my personal opinion. So, just going back a bit, in 2011, of November, the Pinnacle Group developed the estate initially, and in November 2011 they went bankrupt and they were finally liquidated by Investec Bank. So then the property values plummeted, but fortunately the homeowners on the estate that have already purchased houses stepped in and they rescued the estate as well as the golf course from the legal mess between Investec and Pinnacle, and it's thanks to them that we have this jewel of the Free State that we all love so much. So in my research on the estate, the resilience of those owners are complimented quite often, because in many other stories it didn't turn out as well as it did for us. We are, in my opinion, now getting into a really upward trend in the value of properties. Over the past 3 months, we've had, I think, 3 defining sales. You had a house that was sold at Unit 92 for 4.7 million. Then the old clubhouse was sold for 4.550 million. And then Unit 31, it's that massive house that you get right at the end of a road as you go towards the highest point of the estate. And that house has been sold. The values were in the region of 6.7, 6.9 for that property. So someone bought it. And these are really groundbreaking transactions in terms of value in the Clarence community, and I think it's a very strong economic indicator as to what's going to be our future. There is a strong demand for property. You can speak to any estate agent for property on the Clarence Golf Estate. But a few things, as I've mentioned in my written email, is holding us back. And I'm not going to try and repeat everything that I said in my email, but please read it. That's thorough information that I'm giving through to you. But we've got rules and building codes that is very old, and it hampers investment. The one rule that I can think of that is a die-hard rule in the estate is the board does not allow you to remove trees when it's on the commonage. So to tell you a story, we've got beautiful stands that belong to Wingott, but nobody wants to buy them because they're blocked off by bloekom trees and they don't have a view. The bloekoms are on the commonage, so you can't cut them down, and those stands are just going to be there forever because no one's going to invest in a stand where you can't, exercise your right to have a view on the mountains surrounding us. Now, what makes the story a little bit more interesting is that In the 2011 year, Vincott Trust invested in the estate quite heavily. They purchased a lot of stands. I don't know what the exact figure is, but think like 30, 40 stands. And they went into an agreement that still holds to this day, that they will pay a reduced levy in the region of 660 Rand, something like that. As you very well know, the levies are now just short of 3,000 Rand. And these amount of plots that are just lying there and not really generating an income, but not really supporting the homeowners association in terms of, from a cash flow perspective, they are, what if you stand caught up in this stupid tree rule that's in the estate. So that's just one example. But I think a thorough rethink and a replanning of the rules governing our estate, measured in weight against economy versus ecology, but to be friendly towards investor sentiments without damaging the ecology. So rather think replacing of trees as opposed to just cutting them down. So for argument's sake, get a criteria up and running in terms of the value of the tree. Is it a value tree within a South African context, or is it just a tree that we need to remove because it's an invasive species in South Africa? But no one's prepared to have that conversation, and I think that's a big problem, as are some of these older rules. And that is something that I will lobby for as long as I live here. I plan to live here for the rest of my life. Then the stands, as I've mentioned in the email, there are a lot of small individual problems that is attached to a lot of the stands that make it impossible to develop. Now, I don't have a grand one sweeping solution for everything, but what I do think is we should actively be working on that. We should actively go to individual owners and partner with them and look at ways where a stand can be developed which is mutually beneficial, so that to get that person maybe out of a stand that's just not profitable to him because he purchased it in the pinnacle years. And we should be looking at maybe changing building regulations in terms of changing the foundations that a house is built on, especially in the higher in the stands up high in the estate where you've got a huge mountain slope. That would be the only practical way to build there, but it's not something really accommodated in our rules. So we need to have a look at this. And when you think that we've got 121 houses, of which 75 are operating as guest houses, that's 62% of all the property that you have here. The third thing is, I think we should be embracing the guest house industry, because the guest house industry is basically paying for most of the levies on this estate, because it's a good investment. The couple goes, they look at a house, and if that house was managed as a guest house, they usually have an income and expenses statement, and a couple looks at that and say, listen, whoa, with this income I can easily afford a bond and just add some money to it, and I'm saving up for my retirement as well. And that's something that we really need to push. But okay, I can't address everything in one communication. Just to give you a feel and a taste of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about creating investor-friendly spaces. Thank you for listening to me. Enjoy your evening and go well.